On a Monday evening, just as the relentless energy of New York City was starting to fade, a man walked into a cathedral of corporate power on Park Avenue and unleashed hell. The date, July 28th, 2025. The man's name, Shane Tamura. He was carrying an AR-style rifle and a dark purpose. But was that purpose his own? To the world, Shane Tamura was a ghost. A 27-year-old from Las Vegas with no significant criminal background. Nothing that would ever land him on a watch list. By all accounts, he was invisible, but behind that mask of normalcy was a meticulously planned act of terror. This is the story of how a ghost became a maniac. We're not just investigating the crime, we're investigating the chilling possibility of what he represented. Was he a lone wolf, or was he a soldier in an unseen war? A sleeper cell activated for a single, devastating mission. The attack kicked off shortly before 6:40 p.m. The target was 345 Park Avenue, a 44-story skyscraper in the heart of Midtown Manhattan. This wasn't just any building. It's a landmark of global commerce, housing the headquarters of giants like Blackstone and the National Football League. It was a symbol of power, and on this day, it became a target. What eyewitnesses described next was absolute chaos. An employee in the plaza heard the pop, pop, pop of gunshots and saw the glass wall of the first floor shatter. Surveillance footage captured Shane Tamura entering the building, rifle in hand. He didn't hesitate. Inside the lobby, he immediately opened fire. His first victim was an off-duty NYPD officer working security for the building. The officer was shot in the back and would tragically die from his injuries. As panic erupted, Tamura continued his assault. In a chilling moment, captured on an internal camera, he entered an elevator with a lone woman. Inexplicably, he gestured for her to leave, and she fled, unharmed. He then proceeded alone, making his way up to the 33rd floor. The event raises terrifying questions for preparedness enthusiasts and urban preppers. In the face of such a precise assault, what could anyone have done differently? The NYPD response was massive, with SWAT teams descending on the area as Mayor Eric Adams urged the public to stay away. The scene was contained, but the damage was done. When police finally entered the 33rd floor office, they found Shane Tamura dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. In his wake, he left a city in shock, with at least 4 people dead, including himself and several others wounded. So, who was Shane Devin Tamura? To answer that question, investigators turned to his life in Las Vegas, Nevada, and found almost nothing. A search of his sparse apartment uncovered a prescription for a common anti-anxiety medication, but no diagnosis of a severe mental health issue that would flag him as a danger. This is what makes his case so profoundly disturbing. A man of 27 with no criminal history and no ties to extremist groups isn't just a ghost. He's the perfect raw material for a sleeper agent. The prescription wasn't a red flag. It was camouflage, another layer to a manufactured identity. The shallow digital footprint wasn't the sign of a recluse, but perhaps the sign of a life kept deliberately clean. This lack of a profile is what makes operatives like Tamura so terrifying. They are people who harbor an agenda while maintaining a facade of absolute normalcy. The lack of a criminal past isn't evidence of innocence. In a case like this, it can be evidence of frightening discipline. It's the hallmark of a man living under deep cover, the quiet resident of Las Vegas and the trained asset waiting for the signal to strike. But no identity is perfect. For Shane Tamura, the search for a motive led down two very different paths. One is personal, the other far more sinister. The target itself, the 33rd floor, was home to the office of a high-ranking NFL executive. Online speculation pointed to Tamura's past as a standout high school football player. This has fueled a theory that his attack on the NFL's headquarters was revenge for a failed dream. But for some investigators, this narrative feels too simple, almost like a prepackaged motive. Was a grudge from 2016 really the trigger for such a precise, military-style assault aimed at one man's office? Or was that a cover story? The alternate theory is far more chilling, that Tamura was a sleeper cell and his mission was activated. His choice of weapon, an AR-15 style rifle and a bullet-resistant vest, signal a high degree of tactical preparation. The target wasn't just the NFL as an idea. It was a specific person, a classic assassination objective, disguised as a rampage. This wasn't just a personal grievance. It had the markings of a cold, calculated political statement. The investigation into Shane Tamura's mind is a complex and ongoing process. The digital clues a person leaves behind are often the only insight we get into their hidden lives. That's why protecting our own digital footprint is more important than ever. I want to take a moment to thank the sponsor of this video, NordVPN. An attack of this scale isn't born from a sudden impulse. It requires planning, logistics, and a cold, calculated mindset. While the world saw a ghost, Shane Tamura was operating on a timeline, moving with the chilling precision of a trained operative. He traveled from Las Vegas to New York, managing to transport his weapon. He chose his target, 345 Park Avenue, and his time, 6:30 p.m., when the building was populated, but security might be shifting. Every action suggests a planned mission. His movements on July 28th show a clear protocol. He entered the lobby and immediately neutralized the first line of security. His decision to let a woman in the elevator go unharmed speaks not to mercy, but to chilling focus. She wasn't the target. He moved with intent to the 33rd floor for a specific objective where the attack continued and where he would ultimately take his own life. The final step in his protocol. This wasn't a man who had lost control. This was a man executing a violent destiny that may have been assigned to him. In the end, Shane Tamura's final act was to take his own life, and with it, any simple answers. We're left with the anatomy of a void. We have the what, the where, and the how. But the why now splits into two terrifying possibilities. Was he a failed athlete with a known mental health struggle, seeking revenge in a despair-fueled massacre? Or was he something else entirely? A human weapon, a sleeper agent activated by an unknown hand, whose anxiety was merely a cover and whose mercy was a matter of cold logistics. The investigation will continue, but the self-inflicted wound ensures the full story may never be known. Shane Tamura represents a terrifyingly modern kind of horror, the activated killer, a person who can be cultivated in complete secrecy, using the anonymity of modern life as cover before being deployed. He's a chilling reminder that the most dangerous threats don't always announce themselves. They don't always have a record. Sometimes they're just a quiet man from Las Vegas with a hidden mission. The story of Shane Tamura is a tragedy for the lives he took and a terrifying case study in the unknowable nature of modern warfare, where the lines between a person and a weapon can be blurred into nothing.